Today on Leafscope, what would happen when Leafs goaltending doesn't bail them out? Who is mostly to blame for Leafs' poor defense? And why did Carlisle stop playing his hardest working players?
Welcome to Leafscope. I'm your host, Peter Bojarinov. Columbus scores 2 goals 20 seconds apart in the middle of the first, and that goes straight to their hands and legs, playing amazing the rest of the game and pounding the Leafs 6-0. Time for the Rocks and Stars. Let's go with the Rocks. Tough game for most of the team, but the main one, Gardner. He was awful tonight, and it hasn't been his season so far. The first goal, first off, the bad icing. He had teammates open, but he still iced it really poorly, which kept the fourth line on the ice after the icing. They lose the face-off, and Columbus battles around the net. Again, he has a chance to get the puck behind the net, and he doesn't recover Gardner. And then the puck goes back to the point and in front of it, and Gardner still behind the net, not covering his man on the front. Boom, that guy scores. As well, he could have been at fault for 2 other goals. The one where the player walks right around him and he hooks him because he wasn't fast enough or whatever, he was trying to recover, and Columbus scores on that power play. As well, the JVR turnover, that was him covering for Gardner on the point because Gardner pinched. So many bad pinches for Gardner tonight and bad defensive coverage. So it was a pretty rough game for Gardner. As well, James Reimer. It wasn't that he was really bad, it's just that he wasn't better than average. He didn't make any big stops, and that's kind of what you need for a goaltender, is to have some big saves here and there. So Reimer didn't give that to them, and it wasn't enough for the Leafs, obviously. Obviously, most of the team played bad. Mark Frazier, a bad game. Also, he had a fight, which was good, but it was when the game got out of hand already. If he had done that a few goals earlier, that might have lit a spark for the Leafs. Kadri, Clarkson, even Bozak, they were all pretty invisible. Can't blame Bozak too much because it's his first game back after an injury. The Stars. Well, I thought the third line was the only line that was actually competing tonight. Kuhlman, McClement, and Raymond, they were playing hard and they were cycling the puck. They had control of the puck almost every single shift that they played tonight, so that was good. What I really didn't like was when the Leafs were down 4-0, what Carlisle decided to do was, let's try to get back and win this game. So he barely played the third line in the end of the second and in the third period. Barely saw them on the ice, and it's because he thought the Leafs could actually come back and win this game. That's a bad move because you're punishing a third line who's actually playing hard and trying to do something only because they're not scoring type players. Whereas the first and second line, who weren't doing much, especially the second line was like practically invisible, and you're giving them a gift of more ice time. You got to be punishing these players, and in a game like this, that's when you got to punish them. You got to show them you're not playing hard enough. You don't deserve the ice time. And those guys did, and they should have, but they didn't. Got to see more ice time when guys are playing hard. My hustle of the night goes to Phaneuf. Even though most Leafs had a bad night, Dion was steady. Over 23 minutes of ice time, he had a great hit, 3 in total, lots of blocked shots. He played a good game. The impact of the game is the Phaneuf hit. Wow, what a beauty. Man, he takes out Anisimov with a beautiful, clean shoulder hit to his shoulder. Great stuff. I don't know what the refs were seeing because they thought it was a headshot. Didn't get him any of the head, and even Anisimov said after the game it was a good, clean hit. So that was great, but the refs screwed up, and they gave him 2. But the worst thing was the Leafs were already on the PK, and that made it even worse, and Columbus scores on that one. That's another gift to the Blue Jackets, who played pretty good tonight. My recommendations is to change up the D pairings. Why not try Frazier back with Franzen because they worked so well last year together, and put Riley with Gardner because those guys fit better in those positions. Riley back on the left side and Gardner back on the right side. They've both said, especially Gardner a few times, that they're not playing well on their reversed positions because that's not what they're used to. So that might fit a lot better. Yeah, Gardner and Riley might be a little bit too green in the NHL to be playing and pairing together, but you might want to not play them too much, and maybe Frazier not too much with Franzen. So you play that most of the time, but then once in a while you cycle in back with Gardner and Franzen. That would be a good option. Again, if you have any questions for Leafscope, tweet Leafscope or email leafscope@gmail.com. Again, thanks for watching and see you all next time.
Leafscope, Leafscope.